That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode 186 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where some friends used to get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. My name is Adam and I'm joined today by Sam.
Heyo.
And John.
Hello.
And there's no Brett, no pre-show Jones.
We tried. We couldn't afford him.
Shall I dig out Brett immediately? Because I put a message in a Discord group that I'm in that has a very old listener of Hardest Part of the Ring who goes by the name of Prox, is his username. And I revealed that we were recording an episode and he said, I can't wait for that. Can't wait to hear you, Sam and John discuss wrestling. I'm presuming Brett's not going to be there.
Oh.
I know. Poor old Brett.
Brett is living his best life. He's moving house at the moment, which is one of the most stressful things people can do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, first he had a baby
Forgiven.
towards the end of the pod, didn't he? And then now he's moving
his wife
house.
did.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So this is it. This is going to be a review of the Royal Rumble 2025, and we'll discuss why we're here and why we're back recording again in a second. Our last podcast was almost exactly 2 years ago, episode 185, the review of WWE's Royal Rumble 2023. Anyone remember who won that? Any of the Rumbles or any of the matches?
2023.
Was it Cody? Didn't he win two in a row?
That's last year.
Oh, actually, no, he did. He did win 2 in a row. It is Cody.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Wow, I've surprised myself there.
Adam with a quiz point straight away.
Yes. So shall we talk about what we've been up to? Why we haven't been podding? What have we been up to, Sam?
Yeah, I made up a really good recipe for tacos.
Oh, what's your taco recipe?
And it's just fajita mix and mince, actually, in a taco.
Right, well.
But it's good.
You kind of went big and then really brought expectations down.
Hold on, though, because here's the thing. The pico de gallo, that's the magic. That's the good stuff. And it's
is that homemade or is that it from a bottle?
Homemade. No.
Oh.
I made that myself. And that's what I've been working on today. Not the last 2 years, but that's come out grand. Good.
I love the idea if you've been working on that for the last 2 years and you're about to go to market and this is like Hulk Hogan coming out with his...
He's on Dragon's Den next week.
This is why you guys were booing me when we started to record.
Okay, so that's good. John, any big developments over the last 2 years for you?
Really perfected my Manhattan cocktail. I've got that nailed.
Nice.
Done a lot of
taco
art stuff.
seasoning?
No taco season. I don't think you want to do like a taco
Around the rim?
one. Maybe like a taco salted margarita. Like if I can put taco spice in the salt.
Maybe we need to meet up because my taco recipe is vegetarian as well. Not for me. Girlfriend has the vegetarian stuff, but
Okay.
you know,
Make it sound like a
vegetarian
disease.
tacos.
She's got the vegetarians.
Yeah, just to be clear, wrestling fans, not me. I'm not a vegetarian. Wow. Okay.
What about you, Adam?
Any food related stuff in the last 2 years?
Any food related or drink related stuff? I don't know if I've perfected any recipes. I've got heavily into millionaire shortbreads. I seem to be eating like 4 millionaire shortbread a week because my daughter is now 9. Which might surprise you to hear. Yeah. So she has swimming lessons and gymnastics lessons in the same leisure centre where they've got a Costa. And I've decided the millionaire shortbread there is the quintessential millionaire shortbread. It's so good. And whenever I get a coffee to watch her do her lesson, I now can't not get a millionaire shortbread as well. And then, quite often we'll go there for other things during the week, and I'm just addicted and I keep eating it.
How is that working out weight-wise, though? Because, we're all men in our middle ages. It's harder to keep the weight off. And smashing down millionaire shortbreads every week can't be great for it.
Luckily, my metabolism's still pretty good. And I still do a fair bit
body
of exercise. No body pump anymore, no. But I've forgotten about that. But I do go running and I still do some exercise. But that's just so I can eat millionaire shortbread, really.
Worth it.
Is your daughter into wrestling yet?
She caught me, and I do say caught me. She had a friend round yesterday, and then
it's even worse.
I said to my wife,
It's Charlotte. Sorry. Oh no.
I said I'm gonna use this opportunity to watch a bit of the Rumble, so I don't have to watch 4.5 hours tonight. And then I went into our bedroom and was on my laptop, and then at one point Alex came in, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I paused it, and it was on the women's match, and there was a ring full of women, and she was like, "What's that, Daddy?" And I was like, "Oh, it's like pretend. They're just pretend fighting." And I thought, now's not the time. She's got a mate round, and she gets a little bit scared of, like, she's not into anything remotely scary films. Any mild peril she doesn't like. If the news comes on the telly, she puts her fingers in her ears. So I don't think she's going to enjoy people hitting each other.
I was going to say, of all the things with peril, the Rumble, people dangling from the top rope, about to fall out. Sometimes both feet hit the floor, Penta. It's quite scary.
Yeah, so she's not quite into it yet, but maybe one day I'll take her to an indie show or something. That's not going to happen.
Have Spike Gervais spit champagne in her face. She'll love it.
Yeah, is he still going strong?
He's still knocking around. Yeah.
Is independent wrestling still going strong?
Is wrestling still going strong? We're going to answer those questions today.
Yeah.
Are we?
But so how much have we been paying attention to wrestling? Because obviously we haven't done a podcast for 2 years. John, have you been watching much or keeping up with the headlines?
I think when we stopped doing podcasts, I was watching AEW fairly regularly.
Yeah.
I think I kind of fell off even AEW around Sting's retirement match, sort of just after that, I think.
Makes sense. Good time to stop.
Sting's not doing it, I'm out. Yeah, and I haven't until WWE went on Netflix. I hadn't watched any for at least 6 months, I'd say.
Yeah,
I think I kind of was a bit burnt out from wrestling, to be honest, for a long time. Probably beginning of 2023, and I think other than maybe the big 4 WWE events, I just stopped kind of watching all of them. So it kind of was just Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And then, like, all the Vince McMahon stuff started coming out, and then he kind of came back, and then it was just all a bit like, wasn't enjoying it. But then, sounds like he's gone. This time maybe for good. And
it feels like he's definitely gone for good now.
Definitely one of those things where it's like, it's happened a few times where wrestling starts to creep up on me, and it's just like, oh, this sounds quite good, that sounds quite good, I might just tune in and watch this. And over the last 6 months or so, I think I've kind of gotten to that point where it's like, yeah, I'm watching weekly again now. I'm not following AEW.
No.
I wish I was, because some of my favourite wrestlers are there, but it's too much wrestling. It's too much wrestling to watch, really.
Yeah, I think I'm similar, that I'm not paying any attention to AEW at all. And I sort of was trying to read up on the big events and whatever the big storylines were for a bit after we finished. And then similarly with WWE, I was like, I think I just need to stop watching. And the Vince stuff was like, well, there we go. There's another good reason to stop. And they were still doing really bad jobs with a lot of our favourite people. And I just thought, I just need to not be involved in any of this. But then you just hear stuff, and then I'm still like, know other people who are still into wrestling who would say stuff that was going on, and there'd always be a bit of me that would be like, oh, I do miss that, and I do like miss talking to you guys about it. So I'd quite often read the results for the pay-per-views. I would never watch any weekly shows. And then, I'd always watch. I mean, I'd always watch the Rumble. There's only been one Rumble between this one and the last one we podded about. And then I'd watch WrestleMania, but I'd watch it over like 5 days. And then that's kind of it. But then, over the last, since the Netflix deal, I suppose that's only fairly recently, but over the last couple of months, it's been taking an interest again, because a lot of people are saying that WWE is good. And it seems that they're doing good stuff, and they're either signing people or they're re-signing people that seem quite exciting. Like when I heard that Penta had gone there, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. But this is the first event I've watched properly all the way through, paying attention for ages.
I think one of the things that's quite nice is like a lot of the people now who are making up the furniture of mainstream WWE were the guys we were watching on the NXT takeovers a few years ago.
Yeah.
And those were our favourite things to watch. And now it's like they've kind of graduated up to the main roster and we get to watch, like, you know, your Garganos and Ciampas and Chad Gables and stuff. And it's like, oh, shit, yeah, these guys are really good wrestlers.
Yeah.
Especially Chad Gable, right? He's so good.
Oh, I love him. I absolutely love him.
Yeah. Yeah, so do you have a favourite wrestler at the moment or anything like that? I mean, yeah, Sam, you've been watching it weekly. You must have some favourites.
So over the last year, it's very definitively become Drew McIntyre.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Absolutely love his wrestling at the moment. Love his promos. Love everything he's doing.
I would not have predicted that.
No.
Really? I just think he's really good. And like his I Prayed for This promo was fantastic a while ago.
Okay.
And since then, he's been on an absolute tear. Yeah, just really enjoying his stuff. So, Drew, that's my big one.
John, have you got one if you've not been watching?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I was so relieved when I started with the Netflix reboot, and like Kevin Owens was in the sort of main event picture. Obviously, I knew there's no way he's going to win in the Rumble, but it's just so good to see him at the top of the card, just challenging for belts. He's so good, and I love him.
I'd probably go for Braun Strowman.
No, get out of there.
Just like the old days. I really couldn't say. I think, obviously towards the end of the pod, I was so in love with Roman and what they were doing with the Roman, and I've really enjoyed watching the Bloodline stuff from afar or hearing about it.
Yeah.
And then them bringing in all of the other people for the new Bloodline or the Bloodline 2.0 or whatever it is. That's been interesting to hear, and I do still really love Roman. I don't know. I don't really watch enough to be able to say.
Have you seen anything of Gunther?
I was going to mention
I couldn't believe he was a main champ. I knew he was IC champ for ages and ages and ages. I didn't realise he was a main champ.
Absolutely killing it.
There's so many belts now. I was a bit confused by all the different belts. I'm pleased that there seem to be, like, there's a US title and a intercontinental title for the women. So that's good.
Women's equivalents for all of them, I think.
Yeah, but even I needed explaining the fact that Kevin Owens had that one, the double winged.
Yeah, that was confusing. I have to say that was confusing.
Yeah, but that was cool actually when it made sense. But yeah, Gunther. I mean, we always used to love him, obviously.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think what the fear was when he went to WWE, they wouldn't treat him like he always needs to be that sort of undefeatable final boss character.
I mean, he's really done that.
Yeah, but they've done really well
amazing.
with him. Yeah,
they have, from what I've seen. Cool. Well, let's have our first Sting in ages. I wonder which one we're going to pick. It's probably going to be an absolute classic.
Most of them have probably been cancelled now, haven't they? Like Booker T.
No, that's true.
Jim Ross.
I probably
Sami Zayn one.
deleted all the files probably, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the Royal Rumble 2025.
Has him up in the fireman's carry on the apron! Oh! And he dropped the WWE United Kingdom champion on the hardest part of the ring.
The Royal Rumble 2025 was held at the Lucas Oil Stadium, Indiana. I knew I'd struggle with this. Indianapolis. Is that good?
Indianapolis.
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 Indiana. It's one of those weird ones where it's like, yeah. Indianapolis.
Got a lot of letters in it.
Indiana, yeah. The attendance was 70,347, which Michael Cole said during the show is the third highest WWE gate ever, but only including single night WrestleManias. That came as a surprise. It's probably not true.
Yeah, because I always thought the big one was at the Silver Dome or something. Was it WrestleMania 3? They always used to say it was like 90,000, or I swear that was one of those crazy big ones.
You take WWE attendances with grains of salt. Like, some stuff has changed, some stuff hasn't.
I'm gonna look it up.
Well, I wondered if maybe they've retroactively gone back and actually like, okay, here's the truth. And so now they are actually beating records. No,
this is wrestling. Truth doesn't belong in wrestling.
The comms team, Michael Cole, Wade Barrett and Pat McAfee. Sam, how do you feel about Pat McAfee now? You used to hate him. Is that right? Did you hate him?
I went off on him, and then I was kind of like, actually, I kind of like him.
Yeah.
I'm still with him. I think kind of
He's great, really.
he's all right. I think he's got good chemistry with Cole.
Yeah. I think I
sounds
wouldn't
like-
like him in real life. Like, I wouldn't want to be his mate
Yeah.
or hang out with him.
Sounds like Corey
Hectic.
Graves has been left out to dry, but
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
there's some drama going on with him that may or may not be a work. He basically got bumped to NXT
Right.
and not happy about it.
Why would you do that with a commentator though? Like, why? It's not like he's going to get in the ring,
I
is
don't
it?
know.
Did he
I
do
don't
some
know.
weird stuff or say some weird stuff or some past stuff
It's
came out?
wrestling, so maybe I don't know. He seems upset with it. It's unclear if it's a work or not. He
Okay.
very much was not on this show.
Okay.
Oh, do you want a
what-
quick attendance update?
Oh, yeah.
WrestleMania 3 claimed they had an attendance of 93,000,
Yeah.
but actual attendance was 78.
78
I mean, that's
people.
still
78,000.
8,000 higher than.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Sam, what was the card for WrestleMania 3?
Oh, great.
For,
I forgot
for the
this.
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, we had. Well,
You go through
start,
all the entrants in
We
order.
began with the.
Do you know what we should do, though?
Women's-
Sorry, but pre-show Jones isn't here. Was there a pre-show? Do they even do pre-shows anymore? Were there any matches
Do I
on the
look like
pre-show?
pre-show Andrews? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Our pre-show correspondent is not on the pod.
I don't think there was a pre-show. I don't think they do that anymore.
Right, so no warm-up matches, dark matches.
That's why we fired Brett.
Yeah,
No
we don't need
pre-show,
him
no
anymore.
pre-show Jones. No, so we began with the women's Royal Rumble. 30 women, one winner. Simple. We had a 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWE tag team titles. That was #DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns.
Oh, hang on, are they actually called #DIY?
No, I don't know. I just read it as #DIY and I said that, but I reckon they're probably just DIY.
It makes me feel a bit sick inside, that does.
Sam's just really hip and relevant now and just knows that hashtags
Yeah,
are
so
a big
hip
thing
and relevant.
in 2025.
Exactly, I got there. Ladder match for the undisputed WWE Championship and the Winged Eagle Attitude Era, not Attitude Era, but kind of Attitude Era Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. And then finally, main event, the 30-man Royal Rumble, the men's one.
Cool. So obviously we're going to be talking mostly about the Rumbles. I think there's a lot to say about both of those. So should we just fly through? Well, I say fly through. Let's see what happens because we're going to go overexcited and we haven't talked about these people for ages. But the other matches, straight after the Women's Rumble was the 2 out of 3 falls match for the Tag Team Championship. Firstly, do you remember everything we went through with DIY? And now here we are watching them.
I know!
Yeah.
Like they could never be friends again, and yet here they are, best friends, just repeating themselves.
I know that's classic wrestling.
Still
but
great, though.
Yeah. John, were you aware of the Motor City Machine Guns?
They were one of those tag teams that I remember reading a lot about when we podded, but never watched any of their matches because I think they were mainly on TNA back then. And they did turn up in AEW for a bit, I think. Am I right in thinking that, Sam?
Maybe. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think we should say it's probably quite clear, but like there might be new listeners who come to this, but I mean they're probably not. This will probably be the least informed pod we've ever done, and they used to be quite not that well informed anyway, but we were at least watching loads of wrestling. But yeah, they kind of look familiar to me, but I was like, I don't know who these guys are.
Big TNA
They've
boys.
been around for a really long time, but they are TNA stalwarts, really.
Yeah.
They've done stuff in New Japan and kind of Ring of Honor and all of that, but they're known for TNA days.
People
and
love them though. They're super popular.
they're
in
good, and they've got a
that club.
clanging theme tune, which works. I'm not quite sure what this song is saying, but it sounds good.
Yeah. What did we think about the match, Sam?
I thought it was a good match. Bad ending.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending. It felt a bit short for like a 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I don't think a 2 out of 3 falls match works when it's going to only be 15 minutes or so.
No.
Like 2 out of 3 falls, you need kind of half an hour, 40 minutes or so, really.
Well,
First
obviously
ball was
they
really
should-
cool though. That sort of
Oh, the fake
tag.
tag.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
That was great. I've never seen that before in a 2 out of 3 falls.
I thought it was great, but I thought it was bad for a live crowd who would have no idea what that happened and would assume it was a tag. I'm guessing because even on the unless somebody is on the big screen like pointing it out, I don't know. Surely they would think that was a real tag, but because it was after the Women's Rumble anyway, it suffered from just being such a flat crowd. Like that first pin happened, and I actually forgot it was 2 out of 3 falls at that minute. I was like, why is there no reaction to this at all? And I was like, oh, well, I guess it's just the first fall. But even so, there's no cheering.
For as long as I've watched wrestling, I've always thought that if you really, really, really want to shock a crowd, have a 2 out of 3 falls match and win 2-0.
Yeah,
yes.
People would lose their mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it weird seeing DIY as the heels?
No, I think they make good heels. I think Tommaso Ciampa is a natural heel. And
okay, that's fair.
Gargano is a bit of a shit when he wants to be. I think it works.
Did you notice they did the old revival finisher?
Oh, the
Shat
old Shat
machine.
The big rig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. I personally came away from it thinking Motor City Machine Guns are really good. They're really slick.
I agree. They're so in tune with each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was a bit more lukewarm on those guys, if I'm honest.
Really?
They still had that tin A stank on them, you know.
When Ciampa was in like the Tree of Woe and one of them did like a big drop kick, he got such big air on it, and it looked like he really did kick him in the face. I thought that was cool. And then there was another spot where one of them sort of slid in and flipped over and was holding I can't remember which one of DIY it was, but like had them in like a chin lock, and then the other one very quickly came in and did like a sliding drop kick again, and again it was just perfectly in sync and it just looked really cool.
You can tell they've done that spot a lot of times, and it's just a really. I thought it was a nice little palate cleanser after the Women's Rumble, to be honest.
It's nice when you get a tag team that are just so used to being a tag team and can do all that slick stuff, the interchanges, the team up moves, and just seamlessly. It's lovely.
What do we think about the ending? Street Profits coming out in all black with their crutches that they didn't need.
I don't think the match deserved that finish. I think clean finish would have been bolder. I wouldn't have minded the Machine Guns winning. I think kind of it was WWE maybe being a bit afraid of, they don't want to flip-flop the title too much, but also they didn't want Motor City Machine Guns to look weak, so that was the choice they made. I don't think it was the best choice, but it kind of, is what it is.
What is the story behind that? Like, are Street Profits heels?
Okay, so I didn't watch all of this properly, but I believe what happened was basically DIY kind of turned heel and kind of got the Street Profits to help them out.
Right, okay.
Or like did them a favour, something like that. There was a lot of arguing around who was the number one contender. And long story short, basically DIY kind of won the titles back off Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
By turning heel. And kind of had a bit of a we scratch your back, you scratch ours kind of relationship. But then I don't fully know, to be honest. I think kind of it was good match though.
Yeah. So maybe they're building for a triple threat for Mania or something.
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
Which would be great with those teams.
Feels like no matter how much time you take away from wrestling, WWE tag wrestling is still kind of second tier in terms of how they treat it, which is crazy because they're doing amazing stuff with the New Day at the moment.
Yeah, I like the bad New Day stuff.
Yeah, I've been reading a bit about that. It's really
cool. But the actual tag team title picture is second tier at the moment. It always has been in WWE, but more so now.
All right. Well, shall we move on to the undisputed championship ladder match between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens? It's always exciting, when this is like I know the Rumble match is really long, but this was the third match, and you just feel like obviously the Rumble match should headline, but I still wasn't 100% sure if it would, because it felt like this is such a big match. It feels like Cody Rhodes is such a big deal, and I know that he's basically he's like the workhorse of the company, isn't he? He's been doing absolutely everything for WWE, the face of the company, while Roman hasn't been as present. and has been an amazing champion. Looks so cool. Like his jacket when he came out was amazing.
That neck tattoo still looks awful though, right?
Yeah. But when they did the video package for this, there were just endless videos, and it really made me realise like what a big build this has had, and it made it feel like a big deal, considering I didn't really know loads going into it, and I was very, very, very excited for it.
I think this match spoke to a lot of kind of WWE's new direction, in the sense that essentially it's a feud that's kind of based off their relationship with Roman Reigns, which kind of in its own way transcends him from the actual title picture to bigger than that, which is, I'm sure, something we'll touch on later when we discuss the men's Rumble.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it was a good match, but I felt bad for Kevin because he was never a realistic challenger for this. It was never going to happen.
Well,
I don't think he had a candle's chance.
There was one bit where it said that Owens is going for his first title in 8 years.
That's sad, isn't it?
But then also they said nobody has had as many title matches as Kevin Owens in the Rumble.
Really?
So he's just the perennial loser. Well, I think they said that at the.
I do remember he seems to have lose. Quite yeah. I think he fought Roman at the Rumble a few years ago, and there was that one where Goldberg demolished him at a Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
He's sort of perfect
got
in that
done
condition.
by Lesnar at some point.
Yeah.
He's really great heel, but
yeah,
I don't think they put enough. His time will come, and he will get a proper run, I hope.
He's had runs before, though, right, as Universal Champ.
True, yeah, but
8 years ago.
It was a weird transitional champion, wasn't it? Because even when he won that title, I remember us reviewing it. It wasn't that he won it legitimately as the prize fighter. He won it because Triple H came out, did a pedigree, and then said, "You're the chosen one." And then, yeah, I just think he's owed that top spot, but I think it's an increasingly stacked top roster in WWE now.
I mean, the Rumble is a perfect example of how stacked it is.
And I think it's going to be hard for Kevin Owens to find that actual top spot. I'm not even sure where he goes from this now.
Yeah, I mean, his intensity, both like in terms of like promos and wrestling, is so unique. I think in WWE, like he feels so authentic as a character.
Yeah,
he feels like the ultimate fan turned wrestler.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, and so like you want to root for him even as a heel, because it's just like you can tell how much passion he has for wrestling, and I would love to see that kind of rewarded with the big prize. And I get that it's at the moment it feels less likely than ever just because of how top loaded WWE are, but I hope he gets something very soon, because even like a good US title or intercontinental title run I think would be good for his stock and credibility.
He feels like he's just so good at absolutely everything, and because he's so experienced of all like every type of wrestling match, he's always ready for any sort of situation. Like when they went out into the crowd at the start, and even that bit where he sort of grabbed the camera and pushed Cody into it.
That was so nice.
Like I imagine that wasn't necessarily planned. The stuff like with the little ladder, okay, that was planned, that they were going to have that tiny stupid little ladder, but when he like climbs up to pretend that he's going to do a splash, and everyone's like, oh yes, this will be great, and then he doesn't do it. Obviously coming out with the t-shirt, son of a security systems technician. So funny.
Nice. I honestly think he is the perfect heel, because he really understands how to get the psychology of the match and sort of what the crowd are feeling and how to get under their skin.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, it's hard to hate you when you have such good points on promos and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, the stuff he's been doing is brilliant recently, really brilliant.
And he puts his body on the line.
He does. Did you see that bump he took? It was when one of the ladders was down on the mat. Just Cody threw him, and it's just on the apex of the top bit of the ladder, or like that.
Yeah, that body drop.
Like it sucked so bad. So
Any
bad.
bit where they get dropped on the ladder, like even if it's just a gentle like place onto the ladder, you got no shirt on, it just feels like that's going to really, really hurt. You get a vertebrae smashing against a bit of metal. That's going to really kill.
You've only got to look at that final spot, that Alabama slammer through the ladder, and the sell on that.
It was perfect. The landing, the way he landed and then stayed there slumped. I loved that so much. Because he could easily have flopped
Absolutely
out,
brilliant.
or his head might not have got stuck. But he stayed there for ages, and then when he came out, he was already bleeding. But when he came out, because he'd had his head down, the blood had poured down his face. It looked amazing.
So good. And the fact that Cody had time to recover, get up, climb the ladder, get the title, get down, celebrate before he was even like moving. It was like, damn, what a sell. You made that look like a Mortal Kombat fatality. It was perfect.
Great match. I do have one gripe about this match, if we're in the gripe section.
Yeah, go for
it. Kevin and Sammy, I can't remember if it's last week or the week before on Raw, had this great promo bit where, you know, Kevin was like, oh, Sammy, if you help me, I'll help you in the Rumble. It just doesn't feel like that really played out in either of these matches.
No, it didn't. So Kevin's promos in recent weeks of essentially believing he is the champ and people should acknowledge him as such have been incredible, because it's basically been like the delusions and rants of a madman who loses his temper when someone tells him you're not the champ. And him having that kind of moment with Sammy was like, oh, hell yeah, kind of teasing this whole WrestleMania Sammy versus Kevin for the title.
Yeah.
That sounds banging. But at the same time, it's like, well, you know, you're more than Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn is more than you. Like, it's cool that you guys keep intertwining and stuff, but at the same time, probably not. It didn't feel like that was the direction WWE were going to go, and so the whole purpose of it felt a bit like, I don't know. I think it would have been nice to see a bit more colours pinned to the mask from Sammy.
Yeah,
as to where he was at with this.
I never thought they were going to have. I never thought Kevin was going to win this and Sammy was going to win the Rumble. But I just, from that promo, I just thought there'd be some like turn on each other or some sort of interference which would lead for them to have not a title match at WrestleMania but like a grudge match at WrestleMania. But it doesn't feel like
I think they've played that card so many times with Sammy and Kevin that the next time they meet, in my opinion, it has to be for the title in the biggest stage of them all. That's literally all they've got left to do at this point. But it just doesn't feel like it's in the cards at the moment, at least not in the immediate upcoming year or next year, you know?
Yeah. I kind of feel like neither of them are good looking enough. When you think about the people who they are always trying to frame as their main guy, and even in the Rumble, which we'll get to, but like the four big guys, the big talents that they often push, they're all very handsome and sort of shredded and not particularly hairy. And then you've got these two who are they are wrestling and they've been through so much in their careers. And they are amazing, and they've got this incredible chemistry, but I just can't see them ever giving them that proper push.
I think that's...
I mean, it's silly to base things on...
Daniel Bryan made me think that maybe that's possible, that it doesn't really matter, but...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
It all depends on the build-up.
Yeah, we'll see. But... yeah, I mean, it was really cool. And the fact that Sammy came out and they had that shot at the end with the camera that WWE is so good at those angles, with Cody like looking pristine standing up there with the belts and his perfectly blonde hair, and then you've got this that Sammy bending with his head over his friend covered in blood who's just looking completely out of it. That was such a cool shot at the end of that match. But yeah, really cool match.
I don't know if they've changed how they've done those shots, but the direction seems to be a lot better.
I believe they changed the entire camera crew when they moved over to Netflix.
Less crazy cuts.
Shots.
I believe so. I think a lot of it is to do as well with the direction. They're doing less kind of like zoom in, zoom out every time someone takes a punch. Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's probably a Vince thing, wasn't it? A lot of that.
It feels, the entire presentation feels a lot more kind of sports event than it ever has done previously.
Speaking of which, I love the graphics along the bottom during the Rumble matches.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Just
Well-
like, what entrance next? Who've been eliminated? All of that stuff.
They seemed to
love
botch
that.
some of that though, didn't they? When they were like, the winner of this will wrestle this person or this person. Then it was kind of cropped. The second person was cropped when they were doing that. But I did think, I mean, listeners, Sam works in this kind of industry. He does live graphics for live sporting events. So you could be the real judge. It was great to have that info. But do you think they didn't do a good job?
It was great info. I think it encroached too much of the screen where the real estate's happening. Like, they put it in a position on the screen where it was essentially in the safe zone, where kind of no matter what the TV you're watching, you can see it on there. But the problem is most modern TVs don't care about that. So what happens is it ends up taking up more space than it should have.
Right.
And then they were adding sponsorship to it kind of on the US version of the broadcast, which would have then taken up more space. And it's like, it doesn't need to be there all the time, or if it does, make it smaller, make it less encroaching.
There you go. There's the opinion of an expert. Thank you very much, Sam.
You're welcome. Finally, able to give an expert opinion on something that I'm confident in.
Find Sam on LinkedIn for all of your live sporting graphic needs.
I was thinking, how cool would it be if you ended up doing that job? Like, if WWE somehow hear this and they go, oh, and then they go and listen to the back catalogue of Hardest Part of the Ring, and they decide they can't hire you.
WWE's graphics presentations for years have been the best of the best. They are incredible. Everything about it.
Here you go. Now I've suggested you might get a job. You change your tune. Oh, the best of the best at WWE.
The decision to maybe leave a graphic on screen for the full hour and a half. Not the best decision.
Also, what it did highlight is the discrepancy between times of when people were coming out.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Because, it was like,
Liv
this person's
in
been
the ring for 13 minutes when you're on entrance 12.
Yeah,
What?
exactly. It sounds like we're ready to talk about the Rumbles then. So we'll talk about the women's, because that happened first. John, how did you feel about this? Because if you remember when we first covered women's Royal Rumbles, it all used to be about classic old stars, people, all of the old wrestlers that... who was the one that always used to come out?
Michelle McCall.
Oh,
Yeah, Michelle McCall.
yeah.
Basically, loads of those ones coming out. Filler wrestlers, not particularly good Rumbles. How did you feel about this lineup?
That's interesting you asked that, because the men's Rumble also didn't have any big legends come back, but was banging. And I don't think the women's Rumble was bad, but it did feel quite, I don't know, just kind of like plodded along, quite inconsequential.
I sort of feel like it suffers for the fact that we don't watch NXT, and I personally, there was like, I don't know, maybe 12 wrestlers. I had no idea who they were, what their stories were. So I feel like I can't really judge them.
B-Fab sounds like a character that Vincent McMahon would have come up with. That's the very big name.
Lash Legend.
Yeah, that's another Vince
Maxine
one.
Dupree, like Ivy Nile. People.
I didn't know. Maxine not around?
No, I don't think so. Like these, I mean, maybe they're wrestlers that I know. Maybe, but they had different names when they were in different companies. Or I liked a lot of them. But even the fact that, who was it? Roxanne Perez. She's now got the record for being in for the longest time.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? Yeah.
What an unbelievable shout for an NXT wrestler.
But it's like, well, is she the next big thing? Maybe she is. I don't know. So it's hard to say. But Sam, did you know a lot more of these wrestlers, these storylines? If you don't know the storylines, it's quite hard to enjoy some of the interplay.
Like I said, I haven't been following it as closely as should have been, and kind of didn't know all of them, but knew kind of a handful. I think generally I quite enjoyed the characters, though I think the story of the match was a little bit plodding. Didn't particularly feel like it had, I say a plot, obviously that's a weird thing to say about a wrestling match, but didn't feel like it had a kind of an arc or a narrative throughout the whole piece. Or like kind of, even when it did, essentially you had Io Sky, Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez as like your three wrestlers who went from beginning to basically the end of it.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan, I feel like did nothing in that time as well. I can't believe she was in it for over an hour. I don't remember doing anything.
That's the thing, like, for three wrestlers who were kind of in it for so long, it feels like a story should have been told there, but the story was basically just, and they're still in it. Yeah. And there was not, other than like Lyra Valkyrie having a wardrobe malfunction and Liv Morgan saving her.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like there was a huge amount.
No, there was like the Chelsea Green stuff was quite funny. Like she always does a great job of.
I love Chelsea Green. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Jordan Grace stuff was cool when she definitely driving picking it up was really cool.
That was amazing. Yeah.
That was the best spot in the whole match, I think, actually, that bit.
Who was your favourite of like the people that you didn't know? I thought Ivy Nile looks amazing.
I was going to say Ivy
cool.
Nile is my favourite. I love I like what she's doing with Chad Gable in this American-made kind of stable at the moment, and I just thought she looked the part.
While we're talking about stables, I mean, we did our top 5 stables, and if I was really cool, I'd tell you all what episode that was, but I've got absolutely no clue. But I love the fact that they're really leaning into stables. There seems to be so many. Even when, for the women's, I wrote down Alpha Academy, Judgment Day, Damage Control, American Made, and Pure Fusion Collection.
That last one's a weird one, isn't it? That feels like an air filter or something.
That's pure fusion. Like, pure means as if it's just one thing. Fusion doesn't make sense.
No.
It's a cool team, but it doesn't make sense as a name.
It doesn't.
Call it DeVille's Bruisers or something.
Guys,
that's not good.
When Charlotte Flair came out, we was like, okay.
With Pyro as well, yeah.
Yeah, the only one with Pyro, wasn't she?
Yeah. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen.
A lot of people are very unhappy about this.
I was a bit annoyed by it.
I don't mind, to be honest. Why are you annoyed by it?
I just think Charlotte Flair winning a Rumble just feels so unimaginative, especially when what happened in the men's one. This feels so safe and so like. Especially if she sees if she goes against Rhea Ripley again, it's just like I've seen that match a couple of times at WrestleMania already.
Is it Charlotte's fault that she's been pushed too far or too much too quickly? Like, it's crazy to think that she's a 14-time champion and like 2-time winner of a Royal Rumble, and it's like, well, we're bored of you because you've done everything. But is that her fault?
Well, no, because the women's roster has actually been stacked for ages, and they've got loads of amazing talent. Where's Becky Lynch at the minute? Is Becky Lynch injured?
I think so.
There was a rumour she'd be back for the Rumble though, but apparently not.
Yeah,
100%. Like, kind of, I think most people felt or agreed that Alexa Bliss should have won the Rumble.
Oh, that seems a crazy shout.
No? Oh, okay. I thought I was speaking for the masses there.
She's been out for 2 years, hasn't she? So, and was she ever that good a wrestler?
Oh,
I mean, I think so.
I think we went through a phase of really loving Alexa Bliss.
I know you definitely did, John. I remember thinking that you were a big fan. I think you picked.
I like anyone under
Alexa
the sort of 5 foot who has a finisher which is just a punch.
Yeah, yeah.
And she'd do that arm break spot.
Oh yeah, that was good. She was. I mean, in her prime and at her peak, she was an amazing heel, like one of the best heels in the company.
She got an amazing pop as well, which is not something you can say for many people who are coming out in the women's. Well, I mean, one thing I'd say as well was the commentary choice. Which did this happen in both? I think it did. They quite often weren't reacting to the people who were coming out until like a minute after they'd come out, which was really weird. Like, it felt like when she came out, it was just silence. Like, where's the oh wow, it's Alexa Bliss kind of reaction? Like, why are they choosing that? Are they just letting the crowd speak? Because if so, that was not working for some.
I think that's what they were trying to pull off. But like, I've heard as well that a lot of people were saying it was louder in the arena than kind of what the cameras picked up, and maybe the sound and the acoustics didn't lend itself. I don't know. You had 70,000 people there. Like, surely it's
pretty loud, right?
Chanting and screaming. Yeah, but I don't know. I know a lot of people are upset about Charlotte winning this. I'm indifferent to her winning it, to be honest. Like, I think especially in light of what happens with the men's Rumble, I think kind of maybe a safe choice, maybe not the worst thing. I don't think it hurts to build Charlotte's stock up again.
Doesn't need building up though. It's Charlotte Flair,
Yeah.
I think it probably has more impact because she has been away for so long. Whereas because we haven't been watching, it's just like, oh yeah, Charlotte's still the big name that they're pushing, but they have been pushing other people.
if not Charlotte, who would have you had win this?
Good question. And to be fair, like there's people in this match that I would like to win it, but aren't realistic.
No, it's interesting that like Bianca Belair and Naomi are now tag champs, so they're sort of tied up in that.
I think Bianca's probably the only one, really.
Yeah,
but then again,
Bayley's
Bianca won it a couple of years ago. Bayley won it last year.
I
Give
mean,
it to Nikki Bella. One last run.
I actually popped for Nikki Bella. When
out.
because of the music
Come
is so
on.
classic. It's
Come
like when that
on,
music hit, I was like,
Adam.
oh yes,
Adam.
I was hoping for AJ Lee. I think everyone was hoping for AJ
that'd
Lee.
be good. I tell you what, I had a big problem with, because this is another thing that feels like this is exactly how it was when we were watching before. It's Nia Jax coming out.
Yeah.
Doing that thing in the ring where she pushes away 9 people, even though like a load of them
love
were
that.
nowhere
You
near
love
it. I
that,
like it when
though.
Braun does it. I don't like it when Nia Jax does it.
Interesting.
And then when it says that Nia eliminated 6 people at once, when actually that was just a massively botched spot where that Raquel Rodriguez fucked up because her foot slipped and she fell off the edge, and then they all cascaded off the edge before Nia had even
hold up.
got there.
I thought that spot was the highlight of that Rumble.
But it didn't
really
work,
enjoyed
did
that.
it? They fell off before she got there. Raquel Rodriguez, who broke my boy Braun Strowman's heart, ruined this Rumble. I don't know if that's true.
Welcome back to Hardest Part of the Ring, where we're going to spread some opinions.
I just know
I think we
that
could spend another 20 minutes on Braun and Raquel. Let's go.
I just know that they were together, and Braun was that classic over, like just too much on social media, being like, "I love you, my baby." All these posts about being like loving Raquel Rodriguez, even though they'd only been together for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, all of the posts were deleted because they broke up. I imagine it's because he's a prick.
Which, Charlotte Flair celebrating her Royal Rumble by divorcing Andrade.
Oh,
Breaking news.
why? Give us the details. What's
because-
happened? Andrade's actually not a big star anymore. Not a big draw.
He looks
Yeah,
great, though. I couldn't
know.
believe how handsome he looked when he came out of the men's
I
Rumble.
love the mask as well.
I don't know. They literally speak 2 different languages.
What does this mean for Charlotte's title? Because obviously she could go for Rhea Ripley, Raw, or Trish Stratton. Is it Trish Stratton? Is that my... Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
On
Why is she called
SmackDown.
that?
She's really good, Tiffany Stratton.
Why have they called her that when they've got bloody Trish Stratus in this match? And I haven't been watching, but why is one of them called Stratus and one of them called Stratton? And the name begins with T, the forename. It's too similar. John just made the mistake.
If I can make it, anyone
If
can.
anyone was wondering about how close to our 40s or in our 40s we are,
I was interested. I was like, oh, is this supposed to be Trish Stratus's daughter? Or again, I haven't been watching any of this. I'm sure she's a very talented and tremendous wrestler and deserves the spotlight and the championship belt.
Tiffany Stratton is incredible. She's really good. Nia Jax has been very good in recent times as well, which seems mental, but she has been.
She had a good match with Rhea, didn't she, a little while ago on TV?
When they brought her back, she's kind of reevaluated her moveset a little bit. She started using like the Banzai drop as her finisher. It's working. It's working well. She's a legit threat.
I'm not into Nia.
Nah,
Okay.
nor me.
She was doing some really good stuff with Tiffany Stratton.
Okay.
And yeah, I tell you what, might have not hated her winning the Rumble either, if not for Charlotte. I mean, yeah, I stand by that.
I suppose Nia would be could be a good...
Nia would be a legit choice,
Yeah,
right? She hasn't won it before. It's not often you actually get the big guy winning the Rumble, is it?
Just can't see her having an amazing WrestleMania level match at the showcase of the
It wouldn't be
Immortals.
too long, would it? I guess.
No.
Also, it's coming back to wrestling. How great
Do we
is
have
it
to?
that Rhea is so over?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. She's the most over person, male or female, on the whole roster, it feels like.
How do you feel about the phrase "and
Let me
Mammy
tell you
is
about
back on
Joe
top"?
Hendry.
Do you like that one, John?
Sorry?
The phrase "and Mammy is back on top," which is one of her T-shirts. and the
I've
whole
got it on a T-shirt in the other room.
Do you?
No, of course not. I'm a man in my 40s.
I nearly put on a
I wouldn't
wrestling
put it
t-shirt
past
for
you.
this, but I realised the only one I've got is the Fight Forever Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn one, and Hannah has
Well,
told
that could
me
work
that
for WrestleMania.
it stinks, apparently, that t-shirt. I've worn it too many times now. Final thing on the Women's Rumble, were you both surprised to hear N'Golo Kante get a mention?
Did he?
Do you remember that? Yeah. Apparently, I can't remember who it was, so apologies for that, but one of the wrestlers came out, and apparently she's a soccer player, and Wade Barrett said that she was apparently the best holding midfielder since N'Golo Kante, which surprised me, and obviously the other two, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, had no idea what he was talking about. I hope I didn't imagine that.
Was it Stephanie Vaquer?
Yes, I think it was, actually. Let's say yes. So there you go. Yeah,
Interesting.
I mean, the end was very quick. Charlotte won it. Kind of inevitable.
I really hate it in Rumble matches when you get to the final two and they don't have a bit of wrestling.
Yeah, it was so quick. I thought that.
I think it's actually disrespectful to the other person that loses a bit.
I think that's the thing as well, is that like Roxanne Perez put in a...
Yeah, she deserved a bit of a showcase, I think, at the end, you know.
She's got that record
And,
at least.
I was complaining about like the whole there was no story here. The one thing I did get from this was Roxanne's story from it, of essentially the prodigy, the kind of like she is young but she thinks she's better than everyone, and she showed it time and time again. She did that press up spot with Nikki Bella, and she kind of just generally held herself in really good esteem the entire match. She did only get one elimination.
It's crazy.
Don't worry about that.
Cool.
That is bonkers.
Straight after that, they showed some legends. They were showing a lot of legends in the crowd. I did use that mostly as an opportunity to skip through. But Mickey James was there, so I highlighted that for you, John.
Thanks.
Your favourite.
Love a bit Mickey. I've still got that signed picture just over there of Mickey James.
Lovely.
Just before Mickey James, did you see The Godfather vaping inside the arena?
What?
Yeah.
Well, he's allowed.
And Rob Van Dam not vaping inside the arena.
Yeah.
But definitely thinking about it.
Probably in the toilets.
God, yeah.
Right.
He did a load of edibles before he went in.
God, I love Rob Van Dam. I really wish he was in this match.
Oh, it's just seeing him wrestle these days.
Not
It's
the
like
women,
watching Kurt
so
Angle wrestle.
crazy.
It's weird. It's awful.
The men's Royal Rumble, 30 people, one winner. It always feels a bit bad. Like, we always used to try and make sure we gave an equal opportunity to talk about women's wrestling and give the women's roster is so great, but because we haven't been watching for so long, there were so many wrestlers we weren't aware of, so it was hard to enjoy some stuff in the women's match. This was the opposite, right? There was just pretty much everyone that came out we knew about or loved. There were so many great people in this. What a stacked Rumble lineup.
After banger after banger, and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
I know I'm terrible for hyperbole, but is this one of the greatest Rumbles of all time?
Well, I'm pleased you've done that.
Time will tell.
Yeah, I've seen that said. I've seen people say that is their favourite Rumble. I don't know about that, but in terms of the lineup, it's definitely the most impressive.
And no legends, really. All just...
No Tatanka coming out. Gutted about that.
I was a bit worried when I saw they showed Kurt Angle in the crowd. I was like, oh, he hasn't got his unitard with him, has he?
They did have one YouTuber, but they've got to do that. They're they're trying to get the youngsters involved and get them watching. So when iShowSpeed
did pretty
came
good
out,
and took a fucking beast of a spear.
His neck.
No one gave Bron Breakker the message.
Oh my god!
Don't break him
the
in
whiplash on the slow mo, and the fact that he landed on his head as he did it as well.
I don't like Bron Breakker.
Okay.
He doesn't seem like a cool person to hang out with, I'd say.
No, he doesn't. And I don't know if it's like...
Hectic.
Just the fact that he's got a bit of a kind of barking dog gimmick, or the fact that it looks like he treats it as if it's like a real kind of car crash into someone. That's what wrestling is, but maybe that's the point. Maybe he's very good at it, and that's why I don't like him.
I've not seen one of his matches in full. Any good?
No, not have I.
He is fast. He is strong. He's scary as
Looks
heck.
the part, yeah.
Reminds me of both Scott and Rick Steiner in their pomp. You can make of that what you will.
Well, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Isn't he?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He's Rick Steiner's
That
son.
would make sense.
Big reaction when he came out, though. It's popular.
He's very popular. I just don't know. Well, I tell you, he's got a fucking hell of a spear on him. The spear
man.
he did on Roman.
That was a cool spot.
Oh my god.
Should we talk about where, let's go back to the start, because
Let's go to the very start.
How
Yeah.
cool
Gave me
was that?
tingles to start. Yeah, Penta and Ray.
to get Ray and Penta, I thought
Rey
was so cool.
Mysterio. What a legend Ray is.
I love
Still
Ray.
unbelievable.
How old is Ray
all-time
Mysterio?
favourites. He's 49.
50. 50 in
Oh.
December. He is now 50 years old. Absolutely incredible. I'd really love them two coming out together. I love their sort of different looks. I like the respect, the handshake. Penta, I did watch Penta's debut.
Did you?
Yeah.
With the sacrifice and all that. Who was he?
Chad Gable.
It was Chad Gable,
It was good,
wasn't it?
great
yeah,
match.
Chad Gable and then Pete Dunne.
I like the storyline that they were doing with Chad Gable. I didn't see much of it, but the fact that he's been trying to beat a luchador and has been unable to, and then did the whole bring me the best luchador
I'm
in the
quite
world.
invested in this.
Yeah,
Because he's most recently gone to Dominic Mysterio to get advice, who said he'd hook him up with a guy. And they haven't elaborated on that yet. I suspect they're going to drag it out over the next 6 months, and then that guy is going to be Rey Fenix.
Oh, do you reckon?
Debut as a heel, maybe. That'd be quite cool. I don't know. Rey Fenix is when he debuts, he, for me, is going to be main event level.
I think that's
Just
too long to drag this story out, though. I think
Maybe. I don't know.
it's going to be the Hurricane.
It'll be interesting. Fucking Ultimate Luchador.
but it sort of feels like they never really push luchadors to main event level either.
No. Oh, Rey
I mean,
Mysterio.
maybe they will with Penta.
Other than Rey.
Yeah, but that's I mean, in our
I
5
suspect,
years
though, that-
of doing the pod, we never saw anyone
Yeah.
get close.
But I suspect Rey Fenix is good enough to break that mold.
Yeah,
But he never even made it to the top level in AEW as a single.
Just because he wasn't an EVP.
but then again, you look at all these names, and they've just got so many people that they're going to put first. But yeah, really, really cool start. And then to bring Chad Gable out, and then to have Carmelo Hayes and Santos Escobar, and then when Chad Gable was in the middle of them, it was like, oh, we've got some narrative straight away in this Rumble,
Yeah.
which worked really nicely.
I need to say again how much I love Chad Gable, because it's come a long way from, oh, you're now Shorty G.
Oh my
And it was
god, I'd forgotten about that.
That was circling the drain, and Chad Gable is one of the most talented wrestlers on the card, and to find his spot, even if it's jobbing, to be a talented, brilliant jobber,
Yeah,
he's never going to main event at WrestleMania ever, but he's found his spot and he smashes it.
yeah,
I'm happy for him.
Yeah. I think it's what WWE are doing really, really well at the moment, is having a meaningful mid-card. Little stories that I'm actually quite invested in. I'm enjoying the New Day stuff. Anything with Chad Gable, I'm even the bloody. Oh, what's the Judas? Damian Priest.
Judgment Day stuff?
Judgment Day stuff. Yeah, with Rhea and Dirty Dom. It's all really good stuff.
yeah. It is cool. Yeah, I agree. Otis obviously came out 6th. Love to see Otis. For a second, I thought he was wearing a luchador outfit under his t-shirt. And I
It'd be
thought
great
he was
if he
going to
came
put
out
a
in a
mask
mask.
on.
Yeah. I'd love to see him in a
I got a bit
luchador
excited
mask.
about. Akira Tozawa, how do you think he found the Rumble?
Still gets paid though, right? I think that's a cushy little job.
Who attacked him again? It was American Made, was it?
It was
it was,
Carmelo Hayes as he was
Carmelo.
leaving. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yeah. And then we went backstage,
Yeah.
saw Triple H with his specs on.
Businessman.
handsome man.
Very old. And then, of course, I Show Speed. Do you know anything about I Show Speed?
Nope.
I was watching the Rumble with my partner, and she was like, "Oh yeah, he's the guy who jumps and stuff," and I was like,
Yeah.
"The fuck does that mean?" So I guess he jumps over things.
I think I don't actually know. I've seen him on a different YouTube video once. And I guess it's it's sort of how it started with Logan Paul when they got him in, and then he ended up being really good. I don't think the same's going to happen here, but I think he pops up in other videos. We should move on from talking about him because now we're sounding even older. Were you happy to see Sheamus, John? You've always been a massive Sheamus fan. He came out.
Love Sheamus, big fan.
Pale as ever.
Yeah, I'm a fan of latter day Sheamus. I like this sort of where he's been massive brawler. When he was pushed him massively when he first came out, I wasn't a big fan, but I love him now. And I thought he did well in this. It's always good.
Yeah,
he's been around for so long. Yeah, very cool.
He had some wonderful moments in this Rumble as well.
Yeah.
A bit later on.
It's just got a lot of history with a lot of the people, so it all feels quite meaningful.
I'm sort of going through these in order, but just because there feels like there's stuff to be said about pretty much everyone. Jimmy Uso, 6'3".
Both those Usos are big.
I had no idea. That's really tall. How do you think Jimmy Uso feels about his lot in life?
I was going to say, like, I can't imagine a weirder feeling than being Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
Right now, where it's essentially like you've made it, you're successful, you're big in your industry, but your twin brother, well, he's the number one, and you are very much going through the barbershop window.
Yeah, he is legit. It's not like he can even do tag matches, right? They don't exist as a tag.
So I was thinking about this the other day, and I was going to ask, is Jimmy the one who keeps getting DUIs?
Yeah, I can never remember. I was thinking about this during the Rumble. Which one of them?
Yeah, I'm hoping like backstage there was some sort of like, we can't keep you guys as a tag team because one of you keeps having a drink and having a drive. So
I might even have a search.
I'm hoping it's that way round. I'm not sure.
Jimmy Uso has been arrested for driving under the influence multiple times, including in 2011, 2013, 2019 and 2021.
Wow.
So there you
right,
go.
so I like to think that that's why Jimmy is where Jimmy is and Jay is where Jay is.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of my own kayfabe fiction for it.
But after him we had Andrade, who we touched upon. And then after him was probably my main takeaway is, oh my God, I love this guy and I haven't watched any of him since he's been in. Jacob Fatu.
Everyone loves Jacob Fatu. He is a beast. He is the second coming of Umaga.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I just thought everything that he did looked cool. And then he has such a swagger and his facial expressions were amazing. He did it about 3 times and he shouldn't be able to get away with it. But like the really slow turn to see somebody was standing behind him about to try and deck him just looked great. And he's got his grills in. He just looks brilliant. And yeah,
so
I heard
good.
He's very popular. And
seeing the Usos makes me want to get some grills.
Yeah.
Maybe,
you could put it off,
maybe
John.
it's time.
White 40-year-old man in Hove wandering down
the
seafront. And
if this one specific episode of the podcast takes off and we start making loads of money, then let's do it.
HPOTR across the team.
Yes.
Get John some grills.
Yes, we'll set it as a Kofi goal. Are we just going through people? Ludwig Kaiser came out, in and out. That was really cool. I thought I've always liked him. We liked him on the Indies.
Did indeed.
He was Axel Dieter Jr., wasn't
Yes.
he, on the Indies? Yeah. Okay, I thought that was
amazing
the case.
when we ever saw him.
He's got a weird position, hasn't he? Because he's kind of like, he's good and he's talented, but also he's kind of inextricably linked to and will always be linked to Gunther, and maybe better off as a manager or
who was the other guy in Imperium?
Sidekick.
Alexandra Wolf for a bit, was he?
It was for a bit.
There was
more recently.
The Italian guy,
Yeah.
Marcel Bartel, I thought it was, but I don't know.
Where's he gone?
I'm not sure.
Disappeared.
But
who knows?
Yeah, like for Ludwig Kaiser, it's kind of a difficult thing because I can't imagine he's ever going to be overly successful in a singles capacity in WWE, at least kind of on a main roster.
It could be a good mid-card heel though, right? He's got...
He does what he does.
He's got an accent. That's all you need.
Yeah. When he does the stuff on the mic, like introducing Imperium and introducing Gunther, I always think that's really cool. And his facial expressions and then not getting in the ring and then getting in and out really quick.
Yeah.
It worked perfectly. You need some spots like that during the Rumble. The Miz came out. Well, let's not bother talking about The Miz. And then we had a fantastic moment. How aware have you been about this Joe Hendry stuff?
I've never heard of him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that song, and it's through Twitch. Like I've seen, there's been people who have played that a lot on their Twitch channels, that particular song. And then I've played that song on Spotify in the car, and then my daughter sings I Believe in Joe Hendry a lot. It's such a banger, and the video is amazing, and the whole sort of lore behind it, with just in random indie shows somebody would say that Joe Hendry, and then the music would hit, and then he'd come out, and it just became a thing. And then for him to turn up in NXT and then to get a spot in the Rumble, amazing. This bloke from Scotland.
It's really funny because obviously WWE have had this newfound relationship with TNA.
Yeah.
And the TNA champion before Joe Hendry was everyone's favourite, Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, really?
And I was convinced.
Is that where he turned out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he win it from
Obviously,
the guy who's always been... what was his name? They said it in the Rumble. They said he won it from... oh, God,
okay,
I can't remember what his name is.
Here. I thought he won it off... I thought he won it off Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, we need Brett.
Questioning this. Hold on.
Yeah, sorry about this. Nick Nemeth. He defeated Nick Nemeth. Oh, sorry. I'm totally mixing this up. Nick Nemeth is... Oh, God. I'm not going to say we delete this, but that's embarrassing for me. I'm getting Nick Nemeth mixed up with the guy... I need like a list of TNA champions.
So is Nick Nemeth actually Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah.
Nick Nemeth and Dolph Ziggler are one and the same.
Oh, right. I had no idea either, Adam.
I need to try and redeem myself now because I need to try and tell you who I was thinking of. But maybe I don't. Maybe I just leave it.
This is a good growing opportunity for you, Adam.
Yeah, please talk about Joe Hendry while I frantically Google.
Is he any good?
Joe Hendry is...
Other than a
very good wrestler.
Is he?
Very popular
He's
at the moment.
got that look, and I don't mean to be derogatory, but TNA wrestlers all look the same to me, just with different colour hair. Like LA Knight, this guy.
That's true, actually.
Bobby Roode. You know, they're all just like quite muscular, quite square looking dudes with just slightly different hair.
Right. I can't.
That's my hot TNA take.
The person.
Please,
that was perfect.
You use.
Whilst I was Googling. I really enjoyed Pat McAfee saying, I believe Joe Hendry has a story forever because he got taken out of the Rumble by Roman Reigns. Like the biggest star in all of wrestling, or has been at least for the last sort of 3, 4, 5 years. He never would have expected that he'd be in the Royal Rumble. And then he made that song and that video and it went totally viral. And it even went past a lot of wrestling social media, and it's such a catchy song.
He's done well.
And then he's in the Rumble and he's getting taken out by Roman Reigns. Was very, very cool. Good. But yeah, so that, I mean, and the second half of the Rumble, like Roman coming out at 16, I was surprised by.
Massive, yeah, massive.
And it meant, I thought it was so cool after like the title, after Roman being like this mega star of wrestling, where he's only wrestling like once every 3 months or something, barely having any matches, and suddenly people like Dominic Mysterio are getting to lock arms with Roman Reigns. All these people he's wrestling with that you never get to see him with.
The second half of this Rumble was stacked.
Yeah, the names.
Absolutely stacked.
Yes, yeah, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Jey Uso, AJ Styles, like all these people coming out, these huge names.
Finn Balor, they changed his music and no one recognised it, and he just came out to absolute silence.
Weird. It was really weird, that.
Crazy choice, because the last time we saw Finn was when he lost to Damian Priest at the end of like this big Judgment Day redemption story, and it's just like, oh, you're back with new music. And
what about
they should be doing more with him.
Nakamura's new music, another take on his classic theme,
another version.
Also, he looked like he'd been attacked by acid in his eyes or something like that. Weird.
Yeah, he's kind of doing a weird haunted warrior, ancient assassin thing.
He's a champ at the minute.
He's a US champion.
Yeah,
wasn't
so that's nice.
Didn't like it.
Drew McIntyre coming out 17th. Did you hear about Drew McIntyre today? The gossip?
Yeah.
Oh, I did hear something
had a bit
about
of
this,
that.
that he was pissed off about someone, right?
Genuinely pissed off because he got eliminated and it was barely seen, right, at his elimination because there were other spots going on, and his complaint is that, I think it's specifically LA Knight was just dossing about, taking too long to do
Yeah.
stuff. People were getting in the way.
I don't like LA Knight. I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
I don't like LA Knight, but I think this is storm in a teacup stuff. I think
I have to say,
it's a Royal Rumble. Like,
When you look at all these names, most of them are going to be fucked off. Most of them are going to believe that they should have a bigger limelight and should be winning it. You know, I was surprised when Drew went out when he did.
Drew just needs to continue doing what he's doing because he's doing a great job of it. He is, seriously, he made CM Punk's, that feud with CM Punk, he did so much good work with that.
yeah.
Incredible work. And he continues to do incredible work. And in a lot of ways, what's kind of strange is he's taken the same story as Kevin Owens, and they're both doing that same thing of essentially, you sided with Roman Reigns, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And I'd say in a lot of ways, Drew is doing it better.
He's
I don't know.
so good. For a guy that size, he's such a good wrestler. It's unbelievable how good he is. Considering how big he
Honestly,
is.
I think he's been absolutely killing it. And I never thought he was going to win the Rumble, but I think he continues to be a credible top heel.
Yeah. John Cena came out at number 23 with his little never give up.
Whoa.
What?
You missed number 22.
Wow. Do you know, I sort of actively did that because I've spoken about Braun Strowman enough. I actually was surprised because I thought maybe he wasn't about anymore. Maybe he was injured. I haven't been following what he's been up to.
Yeah, you have. Come on, you lie. You check on his Instagram every day.
Well, I unfollowed him on Instagram quite a while ago, and in fact, I've deleted my Instagram recently just because he was always just about fucking going out
Guns.
hunting.
Yeah.
And like his
Really?
gun.
He
Yeah,
loves guns.
He's a very American guy, really.
yeah. It was just so boring. And when he broke up with Raquel
Right.
Rodriguez, I wasn't getting any hot goss. He's probably got another girlfriend now.
Yeah, no, Braun most recently was on Saturday Night Main Event getting his head caved in by Jacob Fatu.
Oh,
Right,
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. It was really good.
It's weird they seem to be pushing Saturday Night Main Event. They've had some good matches on there. Like,
Yeah.
but that always used to be like the lowest of the low. The James Ellsworth show,
Oh,
you know?
God. Well, what about when he came into the Women's Rumble? Or when he won Women's Money in the Bank?
Oh, the
Fucking
inaugural
hell.
one. Yeah, not great look that
Yeah.
was. At 24, the man who we never thought we'd see in a Royal Rumble ever again.
I mean, we spoke about CM Punk for the whole entirety of our podcast. We used to talk about the idea of CM Punk coming back. And it was always a joke that how much John wanted
Yeah.
CM Punk to come back. And now here we are watching him in a Royal Rumble in
Yeah.
WWE.
I have to be honest, it's been weird. It's taken me a while because I feel like the whole AEW thing was so rough, the way that ended. It's taken me a while to get back on board with the Punk wagon in WWE, but I'm there. I'm there now, and I'm liking it.
I had Punk as my winner of this Rumble.
Oh yeah, I thought it'd be him
Like,
or Roman.
I thought it was going to be a final four of Punk, Cena, Roman, and Drew, or Rollins.
Yeah.
And I thought Punk was going to win it all. I think most people probably thought Punk was going to win it all.
I thought Punk or Cena, but then I thought it's probably going to be Reigns, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought Reigns just because I thought they'd do Cody.
Oh, really?
Just because it's
Again.
Reigns.
No.
Yeah. It's kind of nice. It's very nice that they haven't gone with
Yeah,
Reigns.
it's really good. It just makes it so much more open because obviously. Anyway, we'll talk about this at the end, maybe actually.
Well, what did you make of the bit where Cena comes out, Punk comes out, they stand there with Reigns, and I thought, this is really cool. And then immediately Rollins comes out. Never before has it been so obvious that they don't pay any attention to the 2 minute in between contestants.
It worked.
Wrestlers coming
It made
out.
it so
But
cool.
I was like,
loved
what are they
it.
looking
I
at?
loved
Why
it.
are they looking up to the sky? I was like, oh, they're looking at the timer already. Like, every wrestler usually gets to come in, do a couple of good spots, and then they start grappling on the side, and then somebody new comes out. CM Punk comes out, looks at a couple of guys, and then out comes Rollins. It was fine, but...
It's fine. It's a kayfabe 2 minutes. We don't.
Well...
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Seth Rollins coming out, and it's just like, yep, this is the right guy at this time to do this, and Man, that was cool.
Yeah,
That was very cool.
it was very cool. Then we had Dominic Mysterio, which again was quite funny after bringing out all these absolute A-listers. Then Dominic comes out.
I am so happy that Dominic Mysterio has found his place, though, in wrestling. And it's not intrinsically linked to Rey Mysterio.
No.
He's a cool heel
It's
now.
dirty Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
He's a slimy heel. Yeah, he's a bit of a jobber, but he's very much Eddie Guerrero 2.0.
That tash looks so good on him as well.
Yeah.
And I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's like, yeah, man, good for you. You've really leaned into it and become your own character who can exist beyond Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good when I think we probably were doing the pod when he debuted, and it was just like, oh God, all he's got is his name. I mean, he looked decent, like he had some skills, but he was not any kind of package.
One of the last podcasts we did, we were talking about Rey and Dominic becoming tag team champions, and I think kind of our criticism of him at the time was, what are you doing outside of Rey Mysterio that's going to make you, stand out as a wrestler and not just the son of a wrestler?
Yeah.
And my God, has he done that? He's smashing it.
Yeah.
So really happy for him.
Then comes Sami Zayn, and then we get Damian Priest.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
LA Knight.
Okay, love Sami Zayn, love Damian Priest, can't stand LA Knight.
Ooh, love Damian Priest as well. Seems a bit strong.
Yeah, absolutely love Damian Priest. I think he's a really good wrestler.
I quite like
I
Damian
think he
Priest.
cuts good promos.
Yeah.
I think he's a great guy.
He was great in
Not a
NXT.
bit of the Baron Corbin's about him.
Oh, come on.
A
What's
little
Baron
bit.
Corbin
Come on,
doing
come
now?
on,
Is
John.
Baron on
I have
NXT?
no idea.
I think he's on NXT.
No, Baron Corbin, Thomas Pestcock was let go.
Thomas Pescock.
That's his name.
Great knowledge. Thomas
Check him out on
Pescock.
LinkedIn. I want to see what his current position is. What's he doing?
Baron Corbin is dead. I think he's probably going to be on the Indies sooner or later.
Probably for the best.
In the Impact Zone.
That's tanked the value of John's little Baron Corbin vest, the framed vest.
Where's that?
You still got that?
The other day.
Did I call him Thomas Pestcock? Thomas Pestcock.
Oh, God.
Pest-
Yes, his name is Thomas Piscock. I promise
If
that's
we
his
can
name.
just bleep every single time I say his name, please. Wow.
Yes, John is showing us on camera the Baron Corbin vest. That was a quiz prize for one of our many quizzes. LA Knight, yeah, I'm not too fussed. But what about 30? Logan Paul. I'm pleased that they've made him to be such a hateable character and that everybody on the roster hates him.
Yeah, it's
and
not odd,
everybody
is it?
in the crowd hates him. Obviously, he's very unlikable in real life. He had Trump on his podcast, didn't he?
Did he?
Like there's lots of problems with Logan Paul. He is a good wrestler. He does look good, like physically, but
May I share a Logan Paul story?
Ooh, yeah.
Had happened to me in the last 2
is
years.
it libelous?
No.
Shame.
It's weird. Okay, I work on live sporting events, and one of the things I do is influencer boxing. I do kind of all the stadium graphics and backstagey graphicsy stuff for that.
Yeah.
And Logan Paul has headlined one of these events, and I ran into him in Manchester.
Okay.
Literally, I walked into him and he knocked my glasses off,
Oh my God.
and he went, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Picked them up, cleaned them. Was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he was like, "All right, bro, cool, have a good one." And then was just a really nice, chill guy about it. And I'm like,
Fuck
That's
it.
not what I was expecting from this story, Sam.
I thought you were
wasn't
going to say you
wasn't the
pedigreed
impression
him.
or
Yeah.
the size of him. He's fucking huge. You wouldn't think. Yeah, no, he'd kick the shit out of me.
So in some ways you've taken a bump from Logan Paul.
Yeah, in the same ways that I've tagged him with Pete Dunne.
Well,
Kind of.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So we can forgive
yeah.
him everything he's done. Is that what you're saying?
No, I can't stand anything he's done, but at the same time, he pays my bills.
That is cool, though.
So.
That is a pretty cool story. Yeah. So, how do we feel about the ending? Obviously, I think none of us were expecting the winner, which we'll talk about in a minute. I don't think any of us can claim to say that we were expecting that result.
Got a text from Brett saying he expected that result.
Get
Did you?
out.
No.
Fucking hell.
So CM Punk eliminates Reigns and Rollins, which was quite a shock and a great moment.
Yep.
And then I'm like, here we go. They're going all in on Punk. And then Logan Paul eliminates Punk, and Punk lands badly on his, like, it looked like he landed straight on his bum, and that would have really hurt his lower back and his coccyx. For a man of his age, I was quite worried about that. And then, so Logan Paul has the strength and the temerity to chuck out CM Punk, and then suddenly he needs to lie down for 5 minutes whilst all the shenanigans outside the ring go on, and everybody else in the ring is just lying down. I did enjoy that though, because then we had the double stomp from Rollins onto Reigns.
That was rough. That looked real rough.
Yeah, the first one in particular, the one on the steps wasn't too bad. I liked all that. That sets up all sorts of stuff moving forward.
Honestly, like, that whole segment was like the Red Wedding of wrestling. Just an absolute car crash of terrible stuff happening and people losing their tempers and smashing heads into the floor.
Yeah.
Like, literally, Roman Reigns saying to CM Punk, I tagged with you not a month ago, and then his head gets caved in, and it was just like,
yeah,
damn, this is mental. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool because they were eliminated, but they still all got to have that, like, big spot and that big moment.
All of this,
match.
like, all of these months of simmering tension and will they, won't they between Seth and Roman.
Yeah.
And then they don't kiss, they fight, and yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, very cool. And then who were we left with as the final? Was it the final four, and then it became the final
Logan
three?
Paul, John Cena, and Jey Uso, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then I mean, maybe
I was
it's too
so
obvious.
terrified Logan Paul was going to win this. I was like, oh my god, if Logan Paul wins this,
I didn't think from that point onwards I thought, okay, John Cena's obviously going to win it.
Yeah, but then he
obviously going to win it.
would have been weird though, because it'd be him versus Cody. It's like face versus face.
Yeah, but there you go. It's like, you know, the John Cena retirement
Exactly.
tour. Goes out, wins one more title, jobs are
Made
good,
sense.
and right off into the sunset.
Or he doesn't win the title, but he gets his massive
Sure.
send-off match.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I was so convinced it was going to happen. And
Yeah.
I know Jey Uso is, like, obviously he's great, but I had no idea this was going to happen. It sounds like most people didn't, and it was a big old surprise, and that's why it's so cool. But Jey Uso, imagine the yeet stuff with the arms happening at WrestleMania main event when he wins the title from Gunther, because he said that the only way he's going to win it is if he wins the Rumble. Like, he can beat Gunther, but the only way that's going to happen is if he does it by winning the Rumble.
He literally 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago called out Gunther. Gunther basically said, "You're a tag team wrestler, mate. What are you doing?" And then went on to pretty handily defeat him at Saturday Night Main Event, kind of winning, well, just proving his point.
Yeah.
So Jay then being like, right, okay, there's another way I can fight you if I win the Rumble. And everyone's like, yeah, everyone says they're going to win the Rumble, mate. you're Jay fucking Uso. You're not even the most famous Samoan wrestler in this match.
Yeah.
Fuck me, I guess, because damn, he is super over and good value for the win, I'd say. The crowd loved it, right?
And that's what makes me think he'll win at WrestleMania, just so they can get the crowd doing that.
I did an audible gasp when I watched it on my own. I was like,
the camera work for that was fantastic, capturing Cena's look as he was pushed out of the ring. Internet seems very divided, not happy about him winning this, which feels like a very quick turn on him, in my opinion.
oh, the internet's never happy about anything though.
They're not. It's like, if John Cena had won it, they would have been like,
Oh
fuck's
god,
sake,
yeah.
Cena always
I
wins.
find it so hard to deal with John Cena these days because I've spent so much of my wrestling life hating him.
Yeah.
You know, but I love this. I love him, but I also hate him. It's
I know what
so
you mean.
conflicting.
Is it a bit like Randy Orton, though? Like, kind of, once they're there long enough...
I mean, those
kind of
two
like-
are intrinsically linked, right? You can't
They
have
are,
one without
yeah.
the other.
I used to really not like Randy when we first started doing the pod, and then by the end I was all in. And actually, I'd say I do like Randy Orton now. Am I right in saying that like, could we now have a storyline where John Cena can win Elimination Chamber and then he'll get a match at Mania against the other champ? Potentially.
So it's really difficult, isn't it? Because you've got to book it backwards in a lot of ways and think what the Mania setup is going to be. And so Gunther Jey Uso, that obviously makes sense. It's like one of the night main events, all of that. Personally, I'd love to see Gunther win that, but I don't think he will.
No, happy Jey.
Yeah, it'll be a heroic. It'll be like watching Tyler Bate falter at that Progress Wembley show.
Or Sami Zayn versus Gunther at WrestleMania 4.
The question is then, like, who is going to be challenging Cody for his title? Because, like, for me, I reckon... I don't know if Roman Reigns is there. It seems like he's probably got stuff to do with Seth Rollins at this point in time.
Yeah. That would make sense.
The trouble is with the Seth stuff, I feel like that's a feud you can turn to at any time because that history is always there.
Yeah.
And I feel if they're going to do that at WrestleMania, I don't know, maybe they'd start building it soon, but they probably wouldn't start building it soon. They'd probably just build it the week before.
And then CM Punk, is he going to kind of go off on a side feud with Logan Paul?
What, maybe a triple threat with Rollins and Reigns? I saw a friend talking about he is owed a favour by Heyman, and that favour will be to get into that match with Rollins and Reigns. Right.
Yeah, I can't imagine Punk being thrilled with working with Logan Paul in a match, you know?
I've got to be honest, I wouldn't mind John Cena's last match to be against CM Punk.
Is John Cena's last match at WrestleMania? Because I thought it was like a year thing.
Aren't they both a bit past it for that to be a good match?
Mania is kind of the place where you can get away with that, though.
Cena versus Punk.
Is CM Punk? I don't know.
Well, they were saying that it's been like his best, like an amazing year, but then the comms would say that. I remember in AEW thinking he had a couple of great matches, but really you could tell that, you know, he'd struggle if he had to do more than 2 go to sleeps. He'd struggle to get his leg up. I think, you know, he is in decent shape.
Like we all do.
Exactly.
He continues to be top drawer on the mic, though.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which is, you know, half the battle right there.
I know, but then in a match you need somebody who can work. I don't know if, like, Cena hasn't had a proper match in a long, long time, like a solos match. Apparently Cena hasn't. Did I see somewhere he hasn't won a solos match since 2018
he literally,
or something?
Yeah, he cut a promo about this. He said, like, elephant in the room, I haven't won a match for 2,000 days. I was like, wait, what? That's...
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, but I kind of love it. I love that they went with this because this is a huge win, not just for Jey Uso, but for WWE's ambition and how they're going to book big events and sort of build up on the card from here on out. This doesn't feel like it was a sort of, oh, everyone wants Jey Uso to win, but they don't think they will, and oh my God, he did win. No one on the planet thought he was going to win it.
No.
It's a brilliant like reveal, and that's what you want from wrestling, is to be surprised and enjoy it. So yeah, I think you look at the entrances, he's so over. People love him at the moment, even if it is saying yeet, which to me feels weird and out of date. I don't know, but
what would you have him say?
Maybe yes or yeah. Don't know.
Another Y word.
I'm sure there's
what?
Yeah, just what's a good choice?
Classic.
Perfect.
Bring it back.
How about Zero Miedo? That's quite a good one.
Yeah, God.
Say that enough times.
I got so sick of that in AEW, but I'm back on board.
He does
again
do it
now.
too much.
And now it's in his music as well. Anyway, well, there we go. We have our Royal Rumble winners. We know who's going to be headlining some of WrestleMania. And I guess, we'll talk about our plans, whether or not we'll be watching that, and what we're going to do, if we'll be podding about it, after this short break.
Hardest part of the ring, and Sami Zayn able to dodge that catastrophe.
Sam has just reminded me during the short break that we used to do ranks. Have you still got access to the spreadsheet?
Oh God, no. This is just my own.
Score out of 10.
ranking.
Score out of 10 for the Rumble as a whole. It's hard, isn't it? What do you think? Anyone got a score ready to go?
I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Good Rumble.
Okay.
Good
That is
Rumble.
high.
Good show.
John? 10?
I go 9. Go 9.
Wow.
First pod back in a while. I don't want to go too high.
I don't know.
I need some room to grow, you know. Can't go straight
I'd probably
up there.
give it an 8, and I think that's just because of my personal investment wasn't there. The Women's Rumble was quite underwhelming for me because I didn't know loads of people, and then the tag match was kind of all right. But the main Rumble was good. So I'm going to go 7.5. It was good.
Down there from 8 a minute ago.
Did I say 8?
Yeah.
7.5. I've told myself.
I'm going to go 8.
It all just trends towards 6 eventually. But
Yeah, it was good.
There we go.
It was fun. It was fun to watch wrestling again and to actually be actively watching it and making sure I was watching it rather than quite often I'll put wrestling on in the background nowadays if there's something to watch. But I was like, we're going to be podding. I need to pay attention. But was it fun enough to do more pods about? We actually haven't chatted about this. I know there's no plan to come back as a regular podcast, but I'd be tempted to do a WrestleMania pod or something. How do you feel? How's this gone, John? Did you enjoy it?
2 nights.
Oh God,
Yeah,
you're
enjoyed
absolutely
it.
right. Yeah, that's too much actually. That's
2
going to be
nights
sort of
WrestleMania.
9 hours of wrestling or something to
It's
catch
just
up
too
on.
much.
What are your feelings, Sam? Cards on the table.
I'm in for the big 4. They're saying the big 5 now with Money in the Bank, but I'm not putting Money in the Bank in that.
Oh right, so you'd like to
yeah.
pod about the main, so Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Rumble,
My God,
Mania.
and both.
let's see how we go.
I mean, realistically, Mania main events, like not all of Mania, because come
Let's
on.
not forget, and we should tell people, John has deleted Adobe Premiere. So Sam and I are sharing this edit. We've done a bloody hour and a half. So that's
I might
45
see if I get a
minutes.
free trial.
That's all right. Well, we're not like it. Back in the day, we used to then edit after the record to put out that night. We're not doing that today. But I think after editing this, I'm going to think I don't really want to go back to doing the pod loads. But loads, 3 or 4 times a year isn't loads. But I reckon there'll be another pod. We've got to get Brett back on the pod at some point.
I'm glad that we haven't called it a day where we did, because I didn't feel good about just ending it
No, it petered out, didn't it?
calling it a day. But we hit a point where we just couldn't find both the time or the energy at that point to do it, and we've been away from it for a bit. We've been talking about doing something like this. I'm really glad that we have done it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't want this to be the final time we do. So maybe 2 more years' time we'll do another Rumble pod.
Yeah. It was like putting on a pair of old slippers. And at our age, most of us are wearing old slippers. I am. Anyone else? Oh my God, Sam and I have got the same slippers.
That
Amazon
is
cheapies.
huge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at
Wow.
you two. That's so cute.
Wow. We're all wearing slippers, everybody. So that shows how what stage of our lives we're in. We've got cold tootsies. We've got a how to get in touch bit. There's no need to even share that, is there, John? I don't even know if we get emails anymore or who's in charge of that. The social media, I don't have any logins for the Instagram. It says Facebook.
Can we just give a shout out to anyone who, because I've been asked a couple of times from people like, oh, when's Hardest Part of the Ring coming back?
Okay.
And saying that they missed it. And I'm like, oh, that was very humbling and flattering, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. So I'm glad that we were able to come back and make this and hopefully make more.
And shout out to Prox and shout out to Scroobius Pip, 2 people who I guarantee will be listening. But if you kept your downloads on and this has been a huge surprise, you stayed subscribed, thank you very much. And if you're brand new and you've listened all the way to the end, thank you very much. But yeah, until whenever the next time is, and there will be a next time. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, John.
Thanks, guys.
That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.